So one of the classes where well, let's see. We have at MSP, we have practicals, so that's skills training. So people need to do stuff, and we have the traditional PBL classes, so where you sit together with a group of students, where you tackle a problem based on problem-based learning. Now, for my classes, one of the things I've done, and that's what I mentioned with the dynamics. So I've been doing standing education for a few years. So all my students stand in the PBL room. They don't sit on a chair, but they stand on a standing table, and they work together in small groups in front of a whiteboard. And there is all the time there is listening involved to other people, because you need to present what you found. They need to communicate with each other. They move around in the room, so there the senses are involved relatively literally by movement, listening, well, drawing, etc. So that's a very senses-based approach, I think. My final assignments are often very open. I need to rethink them now in the time of ChatGPT, but they are very open in the sense that students have a lot of freedom to well, bring whatever they want to show me what they've learned. For this is a botany class, for instance, or a tropical ecology class. So they can also use drawing, they can use video, they can do well, in my tropical ecology class, I once had a play where people enacted the functioning of a tropical rainforest. And I think this is all again, there's a lot of senses involved. So depending on what students want, they can include different senses in their assignments. And for the skills training, so there we teach students either in a lab or in the field to look at plants and investigate them. And again, that's very physical. It has to do with seeing, observing plants, understanding where they are. So you're out in the field, you have cold, you have heat, you have wind, all kinds of effects, things that you see, things that you hear. And students need to learn to get accustomed with that, because especially if you want to do field biology, if you're a field biologist, yeah, all these senses you need to have. And at the start, when I bring them into the field, the unexperienced ones, I ask them, okay, bring me X number of plant species from this part. And then they say, well, I only see green grass. There's nothing here. And that's because they don't see it, right? So their senses is not trained. They're trained to see green, but nothing more, no detail or anything. But at the end of the assignment, they suddenly find all the things I asked them to find. And then they suddenly don't see a green field anymore, but they see all the details in that field. So that shows already a bit that you train them. You literally train their senses. In this case, the seeing. Other colleagues do that as well with if think about birds, then it's much more auditory, for instance. For particular plants, you can smell them, so the smell can tell you something. So and training that smelling. My smell is very bad, but I know that colleagues can smell very well differences between particular flowers, for instance. So there's also something that you can train by having them engage with that, and you know, really asking them to use different senses in whatever they are doing. Yeah, I think these are sort of the main things I would argue.